Hello and welcome to the legal side of things. Our guest on the show today is often called rainmaker, master strategist, also the managing partner of Karanjwala Company, Mr. Raian Karanjwala. Mr. Karanjwala, as I thank you for being on the legal side of things today, I want to begin not at the start, not with your years at St. Columbus and SRCC and GLC, but starting with the latest and the biggest inheritance battle in the company. I'm surprised you're not a part of the Karishma Kapoor-Priya Sachdeva battle.
So, the answer to that question is yes and no. Earlier, when she was fighting with her husband Sanjay, Karishma had been a client of ours and we'd appeared for her in her divorce and so on and so forth. Then, after they'd settled, years went by and Sanjay came as a client of mine in his fight with Mandira, his sister, over the trademark of Sona steering. So, we are appearing in that matter. The possibility is that when Sanjay died, Priya Sachdeva's side may have come to us. But at that stage, something happened which sort of has kept us out of the matter. Namely, Mrs. Jaya Bachchan is a very close personal friend of Rani Kapoor. And she was very sympathetic to her situation, and she sort of spoke to Manik and hinted that, if you stayed out of this litigation for Rani's sake.
Who spoke to you?
Mrs. Jaya Bachchan,
yeah, okay, all right,
spoke to Manik, my wife,
okay,
and who she's very friendly with. And I, of course, know her, but she spoke to Manik, my wife, and sort of hinted that, if we keep out of the litigation, it would be a nice thing to do. So then we listened to her and we stayed out of this litigation. That's the reason why we're out of the litigation. In the meanwhile, one or two intermediaries have approached me, and I have suggested to them what I think is a fair settlement, at least vis-a-vis the mother, and they also thought so. But I don't know whether the situation is such that the matter can be settled at this point of time. So that's why we're not really in the thick of things.
Have you seen the latest viral video, the fiery legal battle between Rajiv Nair and Mahesh Jethmalani? What do we make out of such things that happen in the Delhi High Court?
Happen every day in court. It's nothing, not such a big deal.
Such big words and don't talk back to me.
See, you have to understand, these things happen in court. You weren't there in the early days when Fali and Soli used to sort of shriek and bark at each other. But this is all part of the game, and usually 8 out of 10, the minute you step out of court, things are normal again.
The other big cases you've done since I've started with cases, for us, of course, the Shah Rukh Khan case is something that we've seen you as a part of winning it for Shah Rukh. He had this team of lawyers in Bombay. They weren't able to do what your magic and strategy in Delhi got him to do in Bombay.
That's not fair. That's not fair. The foundation was laid by the Bombay lawyers, and the sort of icing on the cake was the fact that we were able to get Mukul to come down from London at short notice, and we briefed him, as did the Bombay lawyers, and we succeeded. And I think, frankly, that was a case in which we should have won anyway. So,
were you personally involved? Were you there?
Only in the sense that I kept in touch with what was happening, and my two partners, Ruby Ahuja and Sandeep Kapoor, were both there personally.
Right. And did you think they should have got justice early? Did you think it was...
Everyone... Look, if I think my client has a good case, then obviously I think he should have got justice at the trial court level.
Yes.
He didn't.
You've also done the defamation case and others for Harpreet Puri.
Hardeep's wife.
Hardeep's wife, that's right.
Yeah.
And you won it.
Well, we got something. Yes, we did.
Yes. So in such cases, what is the advice that you give to your clients when something is spoken about them which is out of context?
It depends. It goes from person to person, it goes from situation to situation. So normally when somebody is sort of defamed, you see how serious is the defamation, you see how much it has really hurt the reputation of the person concerned, how worked up that person is about what has been said, and you see how much circulation it has got. Because normally if a well-known person enters the fray and sort of goes ahead and then contests that defamation, then if 10 people read it, 200 will read it. So, and when people read something, whatever you say, some people will believe it, some people, unless it's outrageous, some people will believe, some people will not believe. In this case, we had a clinically open and shut case. There was no way we could have lost it. So we just went to court, and she was she was the wife of a political person. Allegations of a very serious nature of corruption were made. They also reflected on him in a sense, because it was a flat that his wife had when they were foreign officer, IFS officers and so on. So we had no choice but to go to court, and we went because we were on a strong wicket, and we succeeded because we were on a strong wicket. And Maninder, who's our lawyer, was the one who argued it for us.
And he's not, Hardeep Puri is someone you've known since the days of SRCC.
Yes.
So he's not the only one. You had many connections from days of SRCC, whether it's meeting Mr. Jaitley in the first week, or whether it's in GLC where you met Mr. Rohatgi, whether it's Mr. Rohington Nariman. Who are the names that you met back in the early years, including in Columbus, your school?
So in Columbus, I had a gang of 4 or 5 friends who are still friends. And in fact, recently we were sort of thinking of, you know, one of our friends. So there were 5, 6 of us. There's a friend of mine called Firoz Masters. There's a friend of mine called Deepak Sarup. There's a friend of mine called Girish Sareen, who I just had lunch with today. There's a friend of mine called Sunil Goyal. There's a friend of mine called Manu Chadha, who's a well-known chartered accountant, T.R. Chadha and Company. So these were, in a sense, a core gang of ours, and we used to sort of meet on a day. Then there was Bobby Bedi, the guy who made Bandit Queen.
Yes.
Then there was Vivek Jain, there was Mohit Satyanand, there was Ravi Dubey, who's no more, and there were a lot of people. But these 5 were the core 5. And we've stayed in touch throughout, because most of them were with me in Shriram College also, and we still stay as friends. So just now, in June or July, I forget exactly when, Deepak took all of us to Bangkok to celebrate his 70th birthday, because we're all going to turn 70 in a short span of time.
Nice.
So that's how it is. So that was my lot in school.
I just interviewed Dr. Singhvi. He told me from KG to 8th in the St. Columbus, he was a topper. Did you know him at St. Columbus?
No, he's much younger than me.
Okay,
He's considerably,
1959.
yes. And you see, unlike in boarding,
Yes.
where you know people 4 batches lower than you,
Right.
in Columbus school, you barely knew people in your own class, and maybe some in other sections, but you knew your own batch. You don't really know, unless they were very well known, you don't really know batches either junior or senior to you.
I remember Republic's first summit that happened around 2018. I remember how Mr. Arun Jaitley was there, and you had a key hand in welcoming him in Mumbai in the Trident Hotel for us there. You were with him. I remember both of you discussing shawls.
I've forgotten that, but look, Arun was one of my closest personal
Take
friends.
us through that friendship. How did it start?
It started in Shriram College.
You were in the student union also.
Yeah, but that is because of Arun. So it's that friendship started in Shriram College. Corridors of Shriram College. One day, a sort of man walked up to me, very good-looking young man. And the thing about Arun was very different from a lot of people. Even when you first looked at Arun, you knew he was different. You know, he was a cut above the rest, sort of. So he just came and said, "Hello, I'm Arun Jaitley, and I'm contesting for college union president." And he won that election. We became very close friends. And then what he did is he inducted me into 2 things, college union debating and student politics. So I joined the ABVP because of him, then I became student councillor, then I became college union president after he had left. He was at that time the DUSU president, and I probably would have been the DUSU president the year after that, but Mrs. Gandhi imposed an emergency, so all elections were cancelled. So that's how I met Arun, and we were just, Rohinton I met a year later. He was in college, and many others. Vijay Goyal, very close friend of mine. Even till today we sort of meet regularly, very, very close friend of mine. A lot of other friends I made in Shriram College, all of whom we look upon with great fondness.
Even
and
Mr. Pawan Verma and all of them were there.
No, Pawan was not in our college. You see,
Okay.
now people like Hardeep, people like Pawan Verma, people like Shashi Tharoor, people like Ramu Damodaran, are all people I met because I was in the debating circuit.
Yes,
They
and
were
you were
all-
the captain of the
I was the
debate?
captain of, no, I was not the captain when Arun was there.
Okay.
So I was with Arun. Arun was
Yes.
the captain of, we won the Andrews together. But later on, after he left, yes, I was the captain of the debating team in Shriram College. Suresh Kumar, who was, I think, in Barack Obama's administration and so on. So a lot of people in DU. You see, DU had a lot of articulate people in those days. They were all good debaters, Hardeep himself. So that's we used to meet each other and we bumped into each other, and those were the relationships we made.
And what about GLC? What was different about it? What were the connections you made in
Government
Bombay?
law was a complete change. See, the first thing about government law you have to remember is the cultural difference between Delhi and Bombay.
Right.
In those, see, the first thing is that I still remember when we were dating somebody in Bombay, I saw the bill came and I said, I just pay. And she said, no, we'll go Dutch. Which is something that never happened in Delhi in those days. It may happen now, I don't know, because we don't go on dates anymore, but in those days, it never happened. In Delhi, it was assumed that if you took a girl out, you paid. In Bombay, it was always assumed it was Dutch, equal.
Amazing.
And the great thing about Bombay was that you could be very rich and you were always very simple. I know people who were super rich. I mean, you know, industrial wealth, Mukund Iron and Steel and so on and so forth, Alka and so on and so forth. But either they would come driving up in a car or they very often hop a bus. In Delhi, it was unheard of. I remember my friend Rakesh Jain of Jain Sons had a Chevrolet Impala and very often used to give me a lift. So we used to sit in his car and go. The whole university used to be looking at the car when we walked in. So it was very, very... So culturally, Delhi and Bombay, especially in those days, because now money has caught up with Delhi. Delhi is also a richer city and so on and so forth, and there's a certain behavioral similarity. But in those days, it was culturally so different that I think it did a lot of good to me.
Right. And meeting Mr. Rohatgi, how did
So
that
Mukul
happen?
was like this. So I had a friend of mine called Anip Sajde. We called him Tony Sajde. Yeah. So Tony Sajde and us were, I knew him from the 10th standard school, college, and he was also had gone to government law. He knew Mukul. So he introduced me to Mukul and we became like a gang of three. We became like three musketeers, so to speak, you know. And in an average on a weekday, we'd spend 5 days together. Mukul had a car. None of us had a car. Mukul had a car. His uncle used to live with his uncle, Mamas. His mamas used to live in the same joint house. And we were always hopping into his car and going somewhere or the other. And we had a great time together. And we were very close. And then we came to Delhi. And all of us joined the profession. Obviously, all of us had gone to study law. So I brought into our group Arun, who I knew from college. And Tony Sajde brought into our group Rajiv Nair, who he was working with in Khaitans. So we became what they mischievously call us the Panch Pandavas.
Ah, very nice story. I haven't heard that one. 1979, you came to Delhi, you joined the bar, you started working with Praveen Parekh, whom you call Praveen Bhai. This was a time when you said he was a hard taskmaster, but it taught you a lot before you started your own practice.
See, in fairness to Praveen Bhai, he was not a hard taskmaster in terms of shouting and screaming, not at all.
Yes.
But he gave you a lot of work to do and he expected. I still remember, you know, I used to join Jimmy Dada Chanji and Fali spoke to him and Rohinton spoke to him and Fali said, no, Jimmy, you have to help him. If we Parsis don't help the Parsis, then who will help the Parsis? Of course, Fali, of course. Then Jimmy said yes and he went off to Italy. Then he came back, Fali talked, he went off to America, then he came back. So then Fali said, one day Rohinton came to me and said, listen, my dad has decided you join Praveen Parekh. I said, whatever uncle says. So I went to meet Praveen. 8th August, I remember, I went to get my interview. It was my brother's birthday, so I remember. 8th August, and there I go. And Praveen just said two things to me. You work when I work. I work 7 days a week. Simple. And he did. And he was an extremely hardworking man. He used to get up at 4. Now, none of us got up at 4, but he used to get up at 4 and work. He was one of the hardest, he was one of the busiest counsels. So the experience that we got, I think, still stands me in good stead 40 years later.
Gosh.
That's what I feel.
How many Mr. Karanjwala seniors of that time did you brief in these?
All of them, all the top seniors.
Really?
You can't brief every senior, but
Yes,
every
yes,
top
sure.
senior.
Oh gosh.
Anybody you name, Fali, Soli, Venugopal, Chitle, Tarkunde, my father-in-law Justice Tarkunde, Anil Diwan, Mridul, Siddharth Mridul's father, Mridul, Parasran,
Yes, of course.
Mr. Parasran, former attorney general,
Yes,
everybody. We briefed all of them.
So I want to ask you a question which is very less asked. These seniors who you briefed, these were the doyens of the law at that time. Did any of them throw files? Were they fiery? Were they angry? Yes, I remember that actually.
Fali had that habit. See, because what happened is, you went at about 8:30 in the morning for a conference in Nariman's house. He had 10 matters or 15 matters that day, 10 of which he had seen only a little bit and he had to get ready. And he was incredibly fast. You know, I mean, he read much faster than you spoke, and he would just ask, where is this? And you'd give him the page, where is that? And you give him the page. So you had to be well prepared. Otherwise, you couldn't start reading the brief. I mean, anyway, so he was very, very easy. So he was a little sharp. I mean, I don't think I ever had a file thrown at me, but I
That's
stories
quite
have
a compliment.
No. A lot of people didn't have flies thrown at them, but I mean, he could rubbish, crack, like that.
Right, and you copied that really well. I remember Mr. Nariman's voice saying rubbish like that.
So it was like that.
Yes.
So that was it.
Before I ask you about the respect you have and who you like the most out of the seniors or briefing them, 1983 you started your own law firm with your wife. Tell us a bit about that.
So what happened was I married Manik. She was Justice Tarkunde's daughter. And 1 month after my marriage, I got married on 17th April. About a month later, the advocate on record exam came up. So Manik was to sit for it. So she was a little hesitant. But her father told her, "Okay, look, this is the best excuse, even if you don't do well." But I mean, my daughter maintains we're not sure that she topped that exam. Wow. And I mean, Manik denies it, but I think my daughter checked it out because my daughter also topped it. Wow. And so it's a bit of a record in the fact. I never sat for it. So anyway, then she became an advocate on record, and then this was somewhere in, we married in April, this was in May, and in February 1st we started.
How were those years? Where did you start? What was that time like?
Those years were great fun. My first office was in my father-in-law's. My father-in-law had a rented premise in B17 Marani Bagh. It was a very well-known house as far as lawyers were concerned, because earlier to that, Dada Chandji had lived in it. Earlier to that, Niran De, who was the Attorney General of India, had lived in it. So my first office was on the Barsati floor of B17 Marani Bagh. And I stayed in for 2, 3, 5. No, I was in that office for 6 to 7 years. I shifted out in 1990 when Indian Airlines, Air India came as clients and we needed a bigger premise and so on.
Which was the first successful case, Swadeshi Polytech, that you did? Which is the one that comes to your mind?
Swadeshi Polytech was an unsuccessful case. We lost it. Okay. But it was one of the biggest cases of that time.
Exciting cases.
Yeah, it was one of the biggest cases of that time. So that was the
one. You did the Indian Express case in which Guru Murthy was a part. So
the answer to that is a yes and no. I initially did the Indian Express case when I was in Praveen Parekh. Okay. It was Praveen's client.
Right.
Arun Shuri had sent the case to us, and I remember meeting Ramnath Goenka in those days. I knew him well. I knew Ramnathji quite well actually. And I remember meeting him in those days, and he'd been talking about it. And then he suddenly said, he used to call Guru Murthy used to say, "I'm known as Ramnathji's Mundu." So Guru he's not very tall. He's not diminutive, but he's not very tall. Very intelligent. Super hardworking. He used to have that big pen of his, very simply dressed, and he would work from morning to evening. Brilliant, super hardworking. He was the one who actually built the case, if you ask me. Arun was there because I inducted Arun in the matter because he was familiar with municipal laws, which I wasn't. And I was in Parekh at that time. He actually built the case, and then Naliman argued it, and then this thing. Then I stopped working on that matter for when I left Praveen. It continued with Parekh. And then Express came back to me, but not in this matter, as a client years later.
Okay. And Swadeshi Polytech, you said it was one of the most exciting cases?
It was a very big case. It went on for 4 months in the Supreme Court. Our team, Pinaki Mishra, had brought it to the firm. There was Arun, there was Guru Murthy, there was Pinaki, there was our friend Beena Gupta, and us all together in the case. And our lead counsels were as follows: Venugopal, Anil Devan, Ashok Desai.
Wow.
Ashok Desai was still in Bombay in those days. He'd come down to argue it here.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it was a great time.
And who did you like briefing the most? Among all the lawyers, not only in this case.
So, different people, different this thing. My own personal preferences and comfort zone was with Fali and Soli.
Right.
I knew them well. I knew Fali very personally. I knew Soli. I liked Soli's way of working. So, both of them were. If I were to take 2 favorite counsels, then they'd be my 2 favorite counsels.
What was so wonderful about the time of Soli, Fali, Ram? What was different and distinctive about all 3 of them?
It's an era that's gone by which will never come again. First of all, the court was smaller. So people could focus on a few and the attention span.
That's very interesting. Yeah, that's true.
The court was smaller. I mean, if you have 7,000 people arguing, then how are you going to... You get the point. So the court was smaller. You could focus on it. Those were very exciting times, and those were less commercial times. You know, everybody was not in the rat race of making money, either paisa maro, either paisa maro.
Yes.
No. It was an idealistic. I mean, public interest litigation grew up before me, in the sense that Justice Bhagwati propounded the concept of taking a letter written to the court and converting it into a writ petition. What he would do is someone would write him a letter saying, "I'm in jail and I've been treating badly." So he'd take it, convert it into a writ petition, appoint somebody as an amicus. The person he used to appoint in the early days as an amicus the most, and that sort of was Kapil Sibal. A young Kapil Sibal was appointed amicus. He would come and argue the cases, and then between him and of course the larger contribution was Justice Bhagwati's, the whole law on public interest litigation developed in India.
Hugely fascinating. Did
so
not
that's
know
how
that.
it is.
That's amazing, because PIL is something that is the heartbeat.
Now PIL is just PIL, but in those days it evolved in front of us. So we saw it evolving in our eyes. Those were very idealistic times also, you know. Yes. Even now the political discourse is sharp. In those days it was equally sharp, but in those days it was at a more pleasant level.
I agree. I've heard that often. What are the key milestones in your journey that you think led to the Karanjwala and Company being one of the leading law firms in India?
So let me just do a hop, skip and jump, because that's the only hop, skip and jump from one big case to another big case to another big case to another big case. Because according to me, it is those prominent cases that give you the profile that give you other clientele. Of course, you have to do well along the way. You have to do well in your day-to-day matters. So, I mean, I virtually sort of memorized this because I've said it so often. So I can just rattle off. So Swadeshi Politic was the first big mile. So then when VP Singh became a client, he was the defense and former finance minister of India. He'd just gone out. He was the Thakkar Natarajan Commission had sort of issued him an 8B notice. He came to us through the Indian Express Group as a client. I took Soli to him, and that's how Soli became Attorney General in his time.
Lovely.
Yeah, in his time. Then, so that was the second. Then third would be when Indian Airlines, Air India came as a client. Then the fourth would be when Lufthansa came as a client. They came to me in the Modi Luft matter. And those days, it was so funny, you know. I was one of the few people, early people to get a mobile phone. So I was sitting in Taj Hotel, I get a call. We are from Lufthansa, and then we got, had we not been so easily available on the phone, we don't know whether we'd have been there. So then Lufthansa came as a client, then the Tatas came as a client in the Ulfa case, where that's how I got into the Tatas. Then again, Tata Motors came as a client. Then years later, then we started doing a lot of work for the Tata Group. So they then became this thing. And then it just kept on rolling. Then, I mean, you know, one client after another big client after another big client. So we did the Mistry Tata fight. Yes. We did in recent times, as far as the IBC is concerned, we did ArcelorMittal, which is the biggest, I think, stake that was fought out in that particular forum. Then we also did the takeover of Bhushan Steel for the Tatas. So that came, and then, of course, Shah Rukh Khan's case is always around to be talked about, and so on. And so then, you know, as you reach a JSW came recently, where about 3 months ago, 4 months ago. So as you reach a certain critical mass, then many important cases come your way, and they don't stand out in such isolated splendor as they do in the earlier years. You know, one Swadeshi Politic in those years, I mean, could give you bragging rights for 5 years. Today, I mean, it'll come. JSW is a much bigger case than Swadeshi Politic was, even in terms of the stakes involved. But I mean, you know, they come and they go.
But you've also always been called a rainmaker, a master strategist. How do you pull yourself back from a case and are able to understand all the pieces?
First of all, I don't really think I'm a rainmaker. People like to say it, and I don't like to deny it too much. But today, all our partners get work. It's not just, and unlike what people think, I'm not a networking person. I have a natural.
Really? Yeah, but I do think you have a natural.
So I have a huge network of friends.
Yes.
And I like people, and people like me, and I get along with them. But it's not, I never try, or I don't think I consciously try to convert it into a commercial relationship.
Right.
A lot of my very close friends are not my clients, and they're still very rich. I know a lot of people in the country who are extraordinarily rich. I never go to them for work. I never pitch. If you know what I mean. I personally believe that you don't need to do a beauty parade. Right. People like you, they'll come to you, and that's what always been kind to me.
Yes, yes. I remember you saying that one of the persons that you really admired was Ram Jethmalani, and you think there's not been anyone like him.
In criminal law, according to me, and obviously I wasn't there to see it, but according to me in criminal law, India has not seen a lawyer of Ram Jethmalani's caliber. He was a genius. He was super hardworking. He had tremendous stamina. You know, he could sort of work through the night, argue the matter the whole day, work through the night again, and he drank hard, he lived life hard. Actually, he was the one who really lived life king size.
Ah, well said. That's true, actually.
He's the only guy we know of who had officially 2 wives.
Yeah, I did.
So I remember once I told him, I said, Tony was not married in those days, Mahesh Jethmalani was not married in those days. I said, Tony ki shadi kab karwa rahe ho, uncle? Yeah, kahan beta, Tony is not the marrying kind. I said, neither were you, uncle, but you married twice. So he started laughing. And he said, beta, you don't know me. There's a lot of difference between Tony and me. He said, I am sentimental about all my friends. All my whole girlfriends also today, when they meet me, I'm always nice to them. I'm always sentimental. And he was. He was one of the most lion-hearted and large-hearted people I've ever met. Money didn't matter to him too much. पैसा आया, पैसा गया, पैसा आया, पैसा गया, इसलिए मांगा उसको दिया. He was a unique person and superbly courageous. I've seen him in those days. It was just outstanding.
Did you do any cases with him that
Of course, we did so many. Yeah. So many. We did Guru Murthy's bail. When we did so many cases with him.
Yes, of course.
We know him because we did so many cases with him.
Yes, the bail matters and all.
No, there is no doubt about it.
I also want to ask you, what is the spiritual side of being a lawyer? Is there any emotional turmoil that one goes through? Now also
so I'll tell you, many years ago one day, Manik was appearing for a husband who wanted custody of the child, and he had run away, and then he'd come back and the child's custody had been taken away from him. So Manik came home and was crying, ma'am, I said, what happened? So, no, the custody went. I said, listen, yaar, it's not our kid. What are you getting so worked up about? Just chill. Anyway, after that, for many long years, I refused to take any divorce matter into the firm. I said, I don't want this emotion. I can't bear this emotional turmoil. You know that, wo bacha idhar ho gaya, he's being treated badly, Manik is crying at home. I said, leave it, boss. Now, of course, we do, because now it's a large office, so somebody will do it in some corner of the office. But yeah, so there are emotional turmoil, but I've always sort of anticipated myself from that.
Right. Who are the favorite lawyers that Karanjwala and Company like to take on board and like to brief?
All, and at different points of time, but we normally go to the top lawyers.
Yeah. Who are your favorites?
Now, look, I mean, Mukul is one of my closest friends. So, I mean, obviously he's a great favorite. Then we go to Singhvi a lot. We used to go to Arun a lot. We go to Salve a lot. Salve has been, we used to go to Rohinton a lot. Salve, for example, has been, we owe him a lot, because when Manik was giving her advocate on record, if you remember, I told you that it was just a month after our marriage.
Yes.
So she was very weak in accounts. Salve tutored her. Okay. Harish tutored her, because he was a chartered accountant also. So we were all friends. So he tutored her, and then she, I think she passed because of him.
Very
so, you know,
nice.
we've had friendships all over. And because we've also been a well-known firm, and we also keep very good relations with the other big firms. So Shardul was with me in college.
Okay.
Cyril is a very close person. Shardul and Pallavi are very close persons. So is Cyril. So is Zia. So is Behram. Ajay was with me in college and brilliant. Ajay was absolutely brilliant in our college. Then he went into CA, then he did law. A lot of the leading, Mahesh Agarwal is in a sense one of our biggest rivals, but we are very good friends. So a lot of people we have kept on good relations with.
But you know, I find this very interesting, Mr. Karanjwala, because I did speak to Dr. Singhvi for another episode for the legal side of things, and he was telling me the issue with litigation is we're in touch with all the competitors at an eye's length. So you meet your competitor and there are stories being spread about you right in the court, and everyone's able to see everyone.
So what happens is, among senior counsel, because there's a cutting edge of argument, it gets a little competitive, because, you know, as you saw now, Tony and Rajiv, so kitch pitch. Yes. So you won't come away totally smiling after that. But when we're advocates on record, it's not so personalized.
That's true.
And I've never let it be personalized. Even when I deal with I've always been very particular about to my firm that whoever the opponent is, he has to be treated very well, with a lot of respect. If you made a commitment to him, okay, yes, I'll agree to the adjournment, then even if your client is against it, you have to agree. So there's a certain fairness of interplay which we keep, and as a result of which we don't have that bitterness in our relationship.
I go to a case that started in 2013, and I remember it caused headlines everywhere, the Tarun Tejpal case. Today it went to the Goa Mapusa court, it's gone to the Bombay High Court. There are observations and observations. You were at the very helm of it.
So you know so what happened in that case was that there was this guy called K.D. Singh, I think his name was K.D. Singh. He used to own, he was a friend of Tarun's, and I think he owned, I don't know whether he had a share or whatever. So he called me up, yaar, apne dost Tarun ka kuch karna hai. So I said, chalo, theek hai, kar lenge. So I took the case. Oh my God, I mean, every party I went to, it was like whack at my throat. Yeah, people are just going for my throat. How did you take it? How did you take it? You know, technically, you're supposed to take, anyway, you know all the theories, so I won't get into all that. Anyway, so that was the case. But that was a bit of a learning also, you know, because I realized that in political matters, don't appear for people whose broad politics and yours slightly differ. Because I'll tell you why I say it. Because I remember, at least with Tarun, I felt, he never said it, but I felt that very often when I'd give him advice in the early days, in the early stages of the matter, he would wonder, is he saying this because he's not really pro this thing, is he saying this for this reason? So it's always safer to do the political cases of the people whose ideology you're broadly with. Because otherwise there's a lot of suspicion, you know, when a man is under a lot of pressure, he's very quick to suspect. So that's one lesson I learned for myself, and I've been careful in the future. You know, when people have come on sensitive matters on the other side, I've sort of ducked them by saying, hey, better that you go here. Yes. Because you know what will happen, I will give my views the way I think are my views. Yes. I always give advice as to what I feel is correct, what I genuinely believe. Now, he may not agree with it, and he will then there will be 15 people telling him, because in all sensitive matters there are 20 people who jump in saying, hey, I mean, hundreds of people jump in, idhar kaise phas ke tum? Ye to bilkul dusri side ka aadmi hai. So, you know, that's one lesson I learned from that case. Tarun and I are friends, of course, and we stayed friendly, and I think Tarun also later on realized that a lot of what I said made sense. But this is where it is.
I'm going to quickly ask you a few questions, quick lighting. A case you'll never forget.
The Jain Commission, where I appeared for VP Singh, it went on for 5-7 years. I cross-examined Mani Shankaraya, V. George, so many people in that matter, personally cross-examined. So that's yeah, because it was right there, Rajiv Gandhi's murder, this, that, conspiracies, this, that. So that's a big case. Did parts of it and parts of the cross-examination personally, which I normally don't. So that's one you won't easily forget.
A client who has surprised you.
In what way?
Maybe taken you aback, maybe hidden facts from you, maybe you shaken you.
No, nothing that I remember.
Maybe happily surprised you.
No, nothing that I remember. Nobody happily surprised us. Nobody shook.
A colleague who you learnt the most from.
Many, and you imbibe from different people. Like from Arun, we got a sort of we tried to emulate his moral compass. From Kapil, I learned that when you approach a case, don't be too negative. You know, I realized that with Kapil. You know, at a very early age, Kapil would sort of, his success was disproportionate to his age, and part of the reason was his attitude. When people came with a case to him, he didn't say, no, you have no case, you have this. He said, don't worry, we'll do it. It's a can-do attitude that makes a difference from all the counsels, the top counsels I briefed. You learn a little bit of this and you learn a little bit of that. There's no one person who gives you a life lesson. Now, yes. I think, I don't know whether I fully learnt it, but I think the wisest advice anyone has ever given me was Jimmy Dadachandji. I don't know if you know who Jimmy Dadachandji owned India's biggest firm. When Mrs. Gandhi lost the Allahabad case and came to the Supreme Court, she went to Jimmy Dadachandji as a client. When Mrs. Gandhi nationalized the banks, the bank nationalization case, Jimmy Dadachandji.
Jimmy or Jamshed?
Jimmy Dadachandji was his,
yes.
Jamshed may have been his full name, but he was known as Jimmy Dadachandji. So, Jimmy Dadachandji, bank nationalization. Madhavrao Sindhya, the Privy Purse case, lead advocate on record firm, Jimmy Dadachandji. Keshav Nanda Bharati, lead advocate on record firm, Jimmy Dadachandji. Minerva Mills, again constitutional, Jimmy Dadachandji. He had everyone as his client, you know. I mean, there was nobody, like he had the Prime Minister of India as his client, sitting Prime Minister. And I have never met a man, Union Carbide came. They could have gone to any firm in India. They could afford it. They came to him. So I've never met a man with so much contact, so much goodwill as he had. And he was silver-tongued, he was golden-hearted. So one day, I used to eat in the Machar in those days for lunch. I was sitting alone, he was sitting alone. And I said, Jimmy uncle, I used to call him Jimmy uncle because his father, my father and he were friends. Came and joined, come Raian, come. So we sat. And I asked him one question. I said, Jimmy uncle, you have had the top clientele of the, you've had kings, you've had prime ministers, you have ministers, you have captains of industry. If you were to distill it and you were to tell me, what is the essence? What is the secret of success? He didn't waffle and say, no, Raian, you have to be hardworking, you have to be lucky, you have to be this, you have to be that. He just looked at me and said, Raian, it's simply a matter of managing people's egos. And you don't realize how wise he is till you actually put it into practice. And then you realize how deep the man was. I've never seen better advice in my life than from him.
Explain that to us.
So, I'm working with you. Right. You're my boss. I'm a subordinate. And suddenly I say, that was very well put. You really made a good point. I never knew how important flattery was. And managing egos is also partially flattery at times, saying the right thing in a right way in a such a way. Till people flattered me. It's only then. So, there are always these, I don't know whether I should share this story.
Please do.
So there was this, no, I'm not going to share this because but anyway, the long and short.
Change the names.
No, but the long and short is that you just have to handle people's egos. If you go head on, find fault constantly, it doesn't work. You have to find ways to just bring them on your side, and you'll find it works. You'll find it works every time, everywhere, in any place. Everybody is human. Everybody has the same insecurities.
That's a lesson for us.
Even Elon Musk will have a key.
Yeah.
You just have to find that key.
Very interesting. That's a lesson for all our viewers. If not a lawyer, Mr. Karanjwala, what would you be?
So I wanted to be either a CA or an MBA by way of studies pursuant to BCom. But I got a third division. So that was knocked out straight. So then I went to law.
But it turned out so wonderfully.
It did.
I come to lighter questions. What's on your bucket list?
So I've always said to be healthy at 90 and rich at 45. And I'm way behind on both.
I don't think you are not rich at 45.
You don't know it, but I am. I know it. So
you need to be richer?
I need to get rich, forget be richer. But anyway, let's not get into that. So that's
you are one of India's largest.
So the whole thing is that
law firms.
I'm a bit like Jethmalani. I earned a lot, but I spent a lot.
Okay.
Ram was also like that, and so am I. I'm very shocking.
Right.
And it's a sort of, I basically, as I always tell my wife, that my mother never spoiled me. I only spoiled myself.
What are your different shocks?
So I have sporadic, for a short period of time or a long period of time, depends on what it is, I will be sort of into something for the moment. So like, I'm always into clothes,
It's a lovely suit I'm always wearing. I love the navy blue.
I'm always wearing suits. So I always joke and I say, among the birlas there is a saying that at any given point of time, the birlas have some work or some repair or some construction going on in one of their temples. That's the story about the birla. So at any given point of time for the last 35 years, I've always had something getting stitched for myself.
That's lovely.
So that's, so clothes, then there will be, at one stage I was very fond of shirts, I still am, but so I went to all the three, the mecca of shirt making there are three basic great outlets for shirts in the world. Yes. So there's Turnbull Asser in London, there's Charavet in Paris, and there's Ascot Chang in Hong Kong. Yes. So I used to go to all three, and so on and so forth. I have a passion for ties. I always wear a tie because of that. I have so many ties that I better wear them. So stuff like that. So coming back to the money, I once introduced Sachin Vaish, who's my tailor, Vaish, at Rivoli, and to Manik, my wife, and I said, Babi is my wife's nickname, and I said, Babi, this is the man who holds the family fortune.
Good one. Ties, where do you like your ties from?
Everywhere. And I have a large, I have all the top brands, and my favorite brand, of course, closed down, which was a guy called Avi Rosini. So this I owe a debt of gratitude to Rohika Mistry, Cyrus Mistry's wife, because she once told me, we were friends at that stage of our lives, and she told me, when Palan uncle, was her father-in-law, Palan Mistry, when he goes to this thing and he wants to shop in a top shop, he always goes to Avi Rosini. It is the most expensive shop I've ever been to as far as clothes are concerned.
Okay, that's awesome. Ties, pens, of course. I went to Mr. Rothke.
So we have a pen collection.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a pen
Got
collection.
It from you.
All lawyers have pen collections. You see,
Yes.
where in Bombay, you go to the Bombay High Court. I don't know if you've seen it. So there were two people outside we used to buy our pens from. Yes. Rhythm Corner and OK Pen Mart. Those were the two people we used to go to in those days. Then of course Montblanc came, and
yes, of course.
Dilip Doshi started Montblanc, so we used to buy the Montblanc pens and so on and so forth. So, but lawyers somehow have that sort of passion for pens, you know, and like Gautam Patel, the judge, had a passion for inks and pens. He used to love a thick nib, but you know, he used to mix his inks. I remember him telling us and things like that. So a lot of lawyers, because maybe there's a lot more scribbling or somehow you know, and if you see in the criminal bar, they always flaunt their cut. The brand is right outside on the, because it's a way of sort of establishing.
Yes.
Hum bhi hai.
Hum bhi hai. I completely agree. Travel. Do you like traveling?
Not really.
Okay.
I travel, but I'm not a travel person. My wife is, but I'm not.
I want to know about your family, your daughters, your wife. Are you a close-knit family?
Yes.
What are your
Definitely.
daughters doing? I know, of course, they are lawyers, but tell us a little bit about them.
Well, I mean, I'm a very biased father, so I think they're fantastic. But so Manik and I, we were very lucky that we were both in the same profession. You know, when we founded Karanjwala Company, we founded it together, and in the early years, she was doing all the work. So I remember when our eldest child was born, Tahira, Manik took a few years off because, you know, she had to sort of look after the kid. So all my friends, our own, everybody got a bit nervous कि यार इससे काम संभाला पाएगा क्या? Because Manik was the hard worker.
Yes.
I was always been a bit lazy. So all of them were genuinely worried कि my God, will Raian be able to handle the practice now that Manik has to sit at home? But then life was kind and everything went well for us. So both my daughters are lawyers. Both of them work with me. One of them is a partner, Tahira. Niharika is my younger daughter. And I think they're very well brought up girls, and I give the credit to two things. One is, of course, their mother, who is a very sensible person and brought them up well. But the second, I give the credit to the school. They went to Carmel Convent.
I went to Carmel.
Well, so did they. But the thing about Carmel,
I love Carmel.
Probably in your time and probably in theirs was, it was a school which did not put the value of money into you. It was a very simple school. You know, you prayed to God and you were, as Tahira once said, you know, between Carmel and Amity, there was such a contrast. Amity is a very commercial place. Within, I think, the first week of them being in Amity, they did a slideshow saying, if you're a lawyer and you're Mukul Rohgi, then you will earn 2 lakhs. I mean, those days they were charging that, but 2 lakhs appearances, Fali Nariman, so much, Arun Jaitley, so much. So I told Mukul, have you gone mad? Do you realize what they're doing in Amity? They're putting it up on a chart, saying how much you guys are earning. So what? I said, yeah. So you see, in Carmel, they only taught you one thing. Be good and pray to God.
I agree, which was also quite a stretch because we never knew our best friend could have money or not money. We just didn't know.
Which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing, but it makes you very naive.
Yeah. It makes so those are two things. So what happened was that you never had this showing off. You never said this summer Switzerland.
Yes.
You went where you went. You went with your parents.
Okay, that's true.
But the problem with that school and Columbus was that all of us grew up a little fearful. If you're in modern school, you're a daredevil. You know, ye kar lenge, wo kar lenge, don't bother. So modernites have much more gusto and much more chutzpah, as they say, than the Columbans do. So that's how it is. But I think they grew up very well because they went to that particular school.
What do you attribute your success to? What do you think kept you apart from everyone else? What was that one factor?
So the real question is, how did you get to be so big by being, despite the fact that you don't work that hard? Because that is the, you know, a lot of people
I think you're being modest when you say you don't work that hard, Mr. Karanjwala.
I remember once Zia told me, Zia is a very close personal friend, Zia Modi. So she said, Taru to model unique chhe akhi dunya ma, because he is a workaholic, you know, and she just never understand what is he up to, you know. Taru to model unique chhe akhi dunya ma. So let's just say it's a secret sauce, which I'm not sharing. It's like your grandmother's recipes to be given only to the daughters, not even the daughter-in-law. But I'll say one thing. The Karanjwalas come happy and go lucky.
That's so nice. I want to ask you to mimic some more people for us, please.
I'm not a mimic, not good at it. Zia is easy to...
Somebody, Fali, Ram, Soli. Soli was also easy.
No. So he was, okay. Likra.
Yeah, he used to know.
Kitch.
Yeah, he was very particular at one point of time. So, I also want to then ask you, where do you relax? What do you do to relax? What is a day in your life like?
A day in my life is always relaxed. So it starts easy and it goes well. So because, I'll tell you, very honestly, I own the firm in a sense. I mean,
of course,
it's shared with the family, but
yes.
It's owned by me in a sense. Yes. And it's a large firm.
Yes.
And it's a successful firm.
Yes.
So now, if you're a litigator in a large firm, you're not going to be in day-to-day litigation. You can't.
Yes.
Because otherwise you'll get stuck in one matter or the other. So actually, to be honest with you, I was always sort of delegated. I always delegated a lot. But post my tumor operation, I'm on one kidney, I had a tumor. So in the year 2001, after that I sort of stepped further back. Maybe I shouldn't have. So I get up, I sort of get ready and all, go for lunch. Then hit my office post 3:34. Yeah. And then I'm there in office till I feel the work is over and then I go out. So then in office I do one thing which I do fairly religiously, which is that I check, there's a system which works. So when I get into office, I get some dark pads, so many dark pads come to me with letters. So every letter that goes into the office and goes out of the office, I look at.
Amazing.
No, it's not amazing. It's just
but that's a very thorough practice.
No, it's not. It's just a way of staying in touch with what is happening when you're not physically there. Because we record letters to our clients. Today we went, this happened, that happened. He argued this, he argued that. So I'm not saying I read it like I'm reading a statute. Yes. I read it. I have an idea and I move on. Yes. So in that sense, I always know what is happening in office. Yes. Secondly, my phone is always on.
Yes, it always is.
Yeah.
Anytime I want to be in touch with you.
I have a simple rule which I kept for myself from the beginning. I said, I don't take numbers I don't know, but anybody then can message me. If you want to if you're giving a call to buy some watch or something, then I may not take your call. But if you have an urgent message or something, you just say, I'm so and so, this is a case I have, and I'll immediately get back. So my phone is always on. So in that sense, I'm always available. And I always said to myself, who is going to call you? Clients or friends? And both are entitled. So why get into this? No, I don't answer calls this time. I don't take this. I don't want to. I'm not like that. If it's work, it's any time of the night, any time of the day, I'm ready.
Do you read? Do you like movies?
I used to read a lot. I read less now.
Okay.
What
did you read?
I always read non-fiction. For years I've been reading non-fiction. I don't read fiction much. Okay. So at the moment I'm reading that Syed Siddiqui's book, Eyewitness. So I'm finding it quite interesting because I like the political thing. So he's giving an account of, and a lot of things you remember, a lot of people you knew. So it's interesting. So I don't like, I stopped reading fiction many years ago. So as a kid I was a voracious reader.
Okay.
Yeah, but I sort of, all the usual things you read. But I stopped reading. I prefer non-fiction.
And what do you watch on TV, Mr. Karanjwala?
We watch shows these days. So we are again watching something called Only Murders in the Building. It's a comedy show and so on and so forth, up and down.
So is that something you enjoy? It's
yeah, I don't watch unless I enjoy.
Yes, comedy thrillers or something.
Okay.
Any genre.
I like spy. I like thriller.
Okay.
I like suspense. Right. I prefer those, but I enjoy comedy also.
Right. All right. We're going to end this part of the interview right here. I thank Mr. Karanjwala for being with us. We're now going to take a look at his collection of ties, if we are permitted, and also some of the art collection or something in his entire drawing room to understand the passion for art as well. Tell us a little bit about the wonderful art in your drawing room that we've been looking at since such a long time.
So, the real person who should have been here and should have talked to you about it is my wife. Because I'm not that passionate about art. I have a sporadic liking for it. But so our interest in art came up in a very strange way. Several years ago, I shifted to my office at 7 Factory Road. Now, the owner of the office is a person called Nitin Bhayana. Nitin Bhayana is an art collector. He's not only has a very large art collection, but he's very knowledgeable and he also deals in art. So through him, he sort of come to us and said, Raian, they're saying, there are some good pieces. So Manik took interest, I took interest, and then, slowly through him, we started buying. And some of the art is of course gifted, but we started buying because we realized that with Nitin, two things are going to happen. You're going to get a genuine piece, and you're going to get something which he thinks is worth keeping in the long run. Right. So all the Souzas, and I'm particularly fond of these Souzas.
I loved the Souzas,
all
yes.
These Souzas were given to us by Nitin, and there's some others upstairs and so on. So that was my other favorite piece is the Hussein out there. Yes. You know that Hussein. It's Nitin got it for me at quite a deal, and then of course Manik's favorite piece is the Padamsi. Okay. Yeah, that is Manik's favorite piece, and my other favorite piece is statues is the Ganesh.
That's the wonderful one that he.
I really like it. I was very happy to get it.
And why Ganesh? There is so much Ganesh all around. I just like it.
You know, it's sometimes you have an affinity for something. So, yes. so I was very happy to get that Ganesh. Then, of course, some of them, like one of the Prabhas over there, yes, was gifted by Pinaki Mishra to us on our housewarming when we shifted to this house. Right. Then there's Satish Gujral, which.
So, which one are you talking about? This one?
Yeah, I think that one. So that was gifted by Pinaki. Then, you know, there's a Satish Gujral. Yeah,
yes, Gujral, yes,
yeah,
that's
so
lovely.
The Satish was gifted by his son Mohit to me when I did a case for him. Then Anjali Ila Menon has given us.
Okay.
Anjali Ila Menon has given us one or two gifts, and one was given by a friend of ours called Imran Beg when I did a case for him. So some of the art is sort of collected and bought, and some of the art is gifted.
Very nice.
And that's how it is.
And this has been mostly your choice or Manik ma'am's choice?
Some have been mine, some have been Manik's, but I mean, look, what Manik likes will come into the house. Yes. What I like will also come into the house, but Manik has to also like it.
Right. No, but it's beautiful. I especially
we're very lucky. We like it. So
the art.
That's how it is.
This was an episode of the legal side of things that made us learn some things. How to be, how to get clients, and also how to live our lives without egos. I thank Mr. Karanjwala for a very wise episode on the legal side of things. Thank you, sir.
Thanks. It was lovely speaking to you, and it's always a pleasure to interact with the Republic.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरी डे।
Attorney General Bondi, why did you publicly claim to have
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा।
Bliss weaves the magic of warmth into a cold day. Experience bliss in all its forms with Hindware. Hindware, designed for bliss.
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला। MDH।
Lashkar-e-Taiba's Deputy Chief Saifullah Kasuri, who is believed to be the mastermind behind the Pahalgam terror attack, has openly threatened.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
त्योहार की खुशियाँ होंगी डबल। हुंडई सुपर डिलाइट डेज में आपकी मनपसंद कार्स पर मिल रही है कमाल के डील्स। वैसे लोगे तो आप हुंडई चाहे दिल की सुनो या डील्स की।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा,
Attorney General Bondi, why did you publicly claim to have the Epstein client list waiting for your review and then produce nothing relevant to that claim?
Senator Durbin, if you listen to my entire clip on that, I said I had not reviewed it yet, that